Wow, it's another new video. So I'm working on research for my next video because wow, I'm doing research now. And part of that research involves this sort of tangentially related topic that I kind of don't want to include in the main video. So I'm gonna thought dump it all right here instead, you know, to get the itch out of talking about this. It might still seep into the main video, but anyways, in this video I'm going to explain my whole deal. You know, what the heck is up with Caitlyn? You know? I know everyone's been wondering. And so I'm gonna explain everything today. You're gonna learn about this. Okay, what a weird fucking intro. Basically, my friend recommended me this book. I don't know if I'm gonna want to edit the book on there. The book is called Interfamily Systems Therapy. That's probably not actually the book. But basically, it's about it's about treating like your internal situation as a family of, I don't know, dudes that hang out in there. It's like a way of thinking about how you think and how your identity works. Not necessarily identity, but like sense of self. When I heard about this book, it immediately was appealing to me because I already do that shit. I've done that shit for like years. It's just like the way that makes the most sense for me to organize things. And I for a long time I've struggled with like how to express this, or like how should I deal with the way that this is how I handle myself. I started reading that book a little bit, kind of, but it's like I already know that shit. All the stuff that I'm reading, I mean, I've started reading it and it's interesting and stuff, but like I already think that way, so it's not as useful for me. I mean, it is useful. At the very least, it's useful to know that this such thing exists and that I didn't just make it up. I mean, I kind of did make it up. I don't know, I thought it would be fun to just talk about like the little system that I came up with for myself and how I use that to navigate life. So, in Internal Family Systems model, the author describes, I think, 3 main categories of the subsystems. I feel like I didn't really define the system and the subsystems very well. So yeah, the system, I don't want to describe it again. I'm just gonna use the clip from earlier, and if it's bad, then fucking, I don't know, I'll put the definition on the screen or something. But 3 main categories of like these subsystems that can exist within a person: managers, firefighters, and exiles. Okay, here's the thing. The system does not apply very perfectly to me. I don't relate to it. I have my own system, and I think it's way more interesting to talk about my system than like some system that someone else made up, because it's more interesting because I made it up and I like talking about things related to myself. I'm gonna talk about my system instead. The process of me starting to use this like system of categorizing myself into different parts, there's not really a point where it started. There's just like, it was kind of like a gradual decline into madness of what happened here. Bro, I swear, hold on. You think you're safe in there? You think you're safe in there? Oh my gosh, this man is nothing but drama. Alright, so it started when I was a small, wee little baby, coming up with fake names for myself on the internet because I really like Death Note, and I was like, you know, I don't want anybody to put my name in a Death Note, so everyone I introduce myself to, I gotta tell them a fake name. Unless they got the Shinigami eyes, because then they would be able to tell who I am anyways. Yeah, so that's where it started. This first one had a different name, but this is the name that I call them by now. I refer to her as Peach. Okay, so she was like the first. I don't know, she was just like a separate, sillier version of me. Bro, I swear. The boys are fighting. Okay, anyway. God. So she was the first. Who was the second? It was probably name redacted. Can't say her name for some reason. And she doesn't have like, I don't know, she's not as part of like this current situation that I have going on. I feel like I need to draw a diagram or something. So that was where it started. And then I wrote fan fiction a lot when I was younger. There's like this phenomenon with fiction writers feeling as though their characters also exist in their head, like with their own opinions, and they would just like interject throughout the author's life. And I really find that I relate to that, even just like as a young little kid writing silly things. So I think that's like the second, I don't know, brick in the brick wall No, that was a horrible analogy. Maybe step, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so anyways, I would write fan fiction. I'd have my own little silly goofy characters, and then my silly goofy characters would also exist in my head. And I was also into role-playing, because role-playing is fun. It's like pretending to be a different character. And I just really enjoyed doing that. At the same time, I was a very anxious small child who was scared of a lot of things. I sometimes had difficulty in life in general, but I didn't have difficulty like assuming roles and pretending or playing parts and things like that. For a while, I didn't have like necessarily a framework for what this was aside from DID when I was like a little kid looking up and trying to figure out like what the hell's going on with myself. Because I didn't relate to that was like the only literature that I had relating to what I was doing. I didn't even know if what I was doing was right. I was like, this just feels wrong that I'm creating these personalities to play as for different purposes when I need them. And generally it just caused me a lot of confusion, I guess. I was very confused. I figured it out eventually, I think. So there was like that period of confusion, which probably lasted from like mid-high school to throughout college, probably. And then that brings me to like the year when I was like, wow, this is bad. I'm having a bad time. And then I had to do therapy for a bit. And then I told my therapist about this like thing that I do where I'm like, I don't know, sometimes I just like pretend that I'm a different person. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that a crazy like goofy thing that I do? Like, how do I not do that? But he was basically like, no, that's chill, man. If it helps you out. That was the next step. The next brick, to use the metaphor that I used earlier, because I didn't come up with a better metaphor. And then the rest of the bricks is just knowing that this book on IFS exists. And now I'm here. I feel like this was a really long preamble to like what I imagined this video was gonna be, which was gonna be me explaining I don't know what to call them yet. Damn it, I should have like came up with that before I did it. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about my damn characters. So like I was mentioning earlier, if I didn't cut that part, in the IFS model, there are managers, firefighters, and exiles. That's not how I really like separate them. I could probably categorize them into those things if I wanted to, but that's just not how I organize my people situation. I don't like calling them people. They're not people. They're all me. They're just different aspects of me. Now, this is the part where I draw a diagram. I'm gonna draw it in my journal. That's a good idea. Let's try it. Oh fuck. Oh no. I just dropped all my glitter pens. So, something like this. Beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this is a circle. It's not a very good circle, but like, shut up. Imagine this is like the universe. Not saying that I am the universe, but I'm just saying this is how I imagine the diagram. Like I liken it to what a diagram of the universe looks like. So here's my circle, and outside on the topmost layer, the most powerful layer, the outermost layer, I don't know, it's like the most important layer because it's on the outside. There exists three things. The narrator, which is kind of just like what it sounds like. It's just like my personification of the narration that occurs in my head, which doesn't necessarily have like a gender or personality. Sometimes it has different tones and such. Then there is Adeline. This is my personification of God, my approximation of a God, the God that exists inside of me. And then the last thing is me. So like me as a whole, existing of those parts that I just mentioned and the parts that I will mention in just a little bit. Okay, and then beneath that layer, there is another layer of relatively high-ranking agents. I think agents is an appropriate word to refer to them. Here's the next layer. The next layer has three agents in it: Nyx, Amaranth, and Prism. So there's the three. They're all quite complex in their own right, but I'll try to like give a brief summary of each of them. So Nyx is like, I don't know, sad girl personification. It's the best way that I can put it while I'm talking with this silly cadence and not being so serious about the topic that I'm talking about. Amaranth is she's very pragmatic, more concerned with a logical approach to emotional situations. And then Prism is concerned with the spiritual aspects in relation to whatever the situation is. Okay, and then below that is like basically all the rest, which is like kind of a fuck ton. So there's, of course, Teal. We all love Teal. Peach, that I mentioned earlier, she was the first. So Peach is kind of like the inner child, Teal is kind of like the teenager. There's Indigo. Indigo is, they all serve like different purposes. Sometimes it's related to a specific task, or sometimes it's related to like a specific like group of concerns that I have. So Indigo is really the one that's into digital privacy, I guess tech stuff, coding related things. Part of that is also Cobalt a bit, except Cobalt is more like gaming related. Cobalt is essentially the gamer girl one. There is Violet, which is, you know, the magic related things, witchy things and such. Sorry, these are like horrible like descriptions and simplifications of what they are. Then there is Scarlet. You could probably guess what she's for based on her name. Viridian, she's kind of concerned with like cleanliness, such and so forth. Yeah, so here we go. Here's my little diagram. Looks kind of like, I don't know what it looks like. It's like a cell. There's like the powerful godlike ones. There's the ones that are concerned with self, and there are the ones concerned with earthly things. And then there's my OCs. Okay, quick footnote. While I prepare the kitty dinners. Oh my goodness. So why do I do that like accent thing where I'm just like talking and then suddenly I just start talking in an accent? It's so weird and wacky. Why do I do that? What is that about? When I was really young, I remember watching this video, or not video, it was like on TV, on the Disney Channel maybe, if Emperor's New Groove is Disney Channel, but it was like with the voice actors from Emperor's New Groove, and I remember specifically like when I saw Yzma's voice actress, because it's, I don't know, for small child me, it blew my mind to see like an actual human speaking like a cartoon character. It was crazy to me, and so I just became like so fascinated with voice actors, and I watched a lot of dubbed anime when I was younger, and I don't know, I just became very interested in voice actors. So sometimes voice actors do accents, and that's why I do accents.